Okay. The number of electrons to be put on a spherical conductor of radius 0.1 meter to produce an electric field of 0.036 Newton per coulomb first just above the surface is. So you have the options 2.7 to 10 raised to 5, 2.6 into 10 raised to 5, 2.5 into 10 raised to 5, or 2.4 into 10 raised to 5. So here we use the formula for the electric field intensity E equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square, as your q charge is nothing but the number of electrons multiplied by the charge, that is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q becomes n into E upon r square. So here we need to find the n. So n becomes equals to E r square upon E into 4 pi epsilon naught. So you substitute the values, that is 0.036 multiplied by the radius is 0.1 meter square upon your E, that is upon your electric field is given by into 4 into, that will be upon 4 pi epsilon naught, that will be 1 upon 10 raised to minus 9 raised to 9 into E is nothing but 0.036. So that is again 0.036, and your charge is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So after solving all this, you get a value of about 2.5 into 10 raised to 5 electric field and 10 raised to 5 number of electrons above the surface. So the correct option is C, 2.5 into 10 raised to 5. Okay. The force acting upon a charged particle kept between the plates of a charged condenser is F. If one plate of the condenser is removed, then the force acting on the same particle will become 0 F by 2 F or 2F. So we have two conditions out here. Consider first the force acting is given by Q into E, where E has a value of sigma upon epsilon naught. So totally our force will have a value of Q sigma upon epsilon naught. So when the one plate is removed, the value for E will become half of sigma upon epsilon naught. So similarly, the new force which will be applied when one plate is removed will be F upon 2. So B is the correct option. The dimensions of half epsilon naught E square, that is the permittivity of free space and the electric field, are here the half epsilon naught E square will be the energy density, and the energy density has a formula of energy density will be given by the energy per unit volume. Okay, where your energy is nothing but the work done. It has a dimension of m0 l1 m1 l1 t raised to minus 2, m1 l2 t raised to minus 2 upon your volume has an L3. So solving this, it becomes m1 L minus 1 t raised to minus 2. So C is the correct option. Next, a piece of cloud is having area 25 to 10 raised to 6 meter square and electric potential of 10 raised to 5 volts. If the height of the cloud is 0.75 kilometers, the energy of the electric field between Earth and the cloud will be 250 joules, 750 joules, 1225 joules, or 1475 joules. Okay, so here for the energy density we have an equation of half epsilon naught E square. Okay, where in E square multiplied by the area into D. So that will be equal to half epsilon naught V square upon D square into AD. Okay, so again substituting the values, half into epsilon naught has a value of 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 into the voltage given is how much, the V square is 10 raised to 5 volts, so 10 raised to 5 the whole square upon D square. The D is how much, 0.75 kilometers, so that is 0.75 into 10 raised to 3. Okay, the whole square into AD is again 25. Piece of the cloud is having an area of 25 into 10 raised to 6. Okay, so your dd gets cancelled out here, so you're using only 1d. So half multiplied by this everything will give you a value of 1475 joules in all is the energy. So the correct option is D, 1475 joules of energy. The earth has a volume of volume V and a surface area A, then the capacitance should be. Here for a spherical conductor, the capacitance is given by 4 pi epsilon naught R, whereas the volume is given by, for a sphere it will be 4 by 3 pi R cube, and the area will be 4 pi R square. So comparing both of them, this V and A, we get the equation that R is equals to 3V upon A. That is, if you compare both of them, if you get the value of R, it will get 3V by A. So this is C, which is equals to, again substitute the R over here, that will be 4 pi epsilon naught 3V upon A. That is nothing but 12 pi epsilon naught V upon A. So 12 pi epsilon naught V by A is the option number C. That is the correct option. Okay. What is the area of the plates of a 3F parallel plate capacitor, 3 farad parallel plate capacitor, if the separation between them is 5 millimeter? So here is this the area which is given, 1.69 to 10 raised to 9 meter square, 4.529 into 10 raised to 9 meter square, 9.281 into 10 raised to 9 meter square, or 12.981 into 10 raised to 9 meter square. So for the parallel plate capacitance, we have C is equals to epsilon naught A upon D. So we need to find the area. So area becomes equals to CD upon epsilon naught. So again, your C ka value is nothing but 3F. That is 3 into the D is 5 mm. 5 into 10 raised to minus 3 upon epsilon naught is 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12. So on solving this, you get a value of 1.695 into 10 raised to 9 meter square. So your correct option is A, 1.695 into 10 raised to 9 meter square. Next, the capacity of a parallel plate capacitor condenser is 12 microfarad. If the capacity when the separation between the plates is doubled and the area is half. So we have to consider two conditions here. That is C1 when it is equals to A1 epsilon naught D1, and C2 when it is equals to A2 epsilon upon D2. So comparing C1 upon C2, or we can get C2 upon C1, you can have A2 upon A1 multiplied by D1 upon D2, as they are in inverse proportion to each other. So the area is halved and the separation is doubled. As they are in inverse, you will get area is halved and the separation is also doubled, so that will be inverse, so that is half. That is 1 upon 4. So C2 is nothing but 1 upon 4 times of C1. As C1, the capacity of one plate is 12 microfarad, so that is C2 will be equals to half into 12, so that will be given where 3 half into 4, half 1 upon 4 into 12, so that will be 3 microfarad will be the capacitance of the other. So that is A is 3 microfarads. A parallel plate condenser has a capacitance of 50 microfarad in air and 110 microfarad when immersed in an oil. The dielectric constant of the K of the oil is. So here the capacitance in a medium is equals to K times the capacitance in the air medium. So if we need to find the value of K, so that will be C medium upon C in air. That is nothing but in the medium it is 110 microfarads and it is in the air it is 50 microfarads, so that will give you 2.2. So the correct option is D, 2.20. So as shown in the figure, a very thin sheet of aluminum is placed in between the plates of condenser in the capacitor. So the capacity will increase, decrease, remain unchanged, or it will remain it may increase or it may decrease. So as it is given, this is an aluminum sheet inside which is kept in a condenser. Being a metal, it will not affect the capacitance, as a result of which the capacitance will be equals to Q upon V, that is equals to Q upon E into D. So this won't increase or this won't decrease, so it will remain unchanged. A charge of by 40 microcapacitance is given. 40 microcoulomb is given to a capacitor having a capacitance of C which is equals to 10 microfarad. The stored energy in urge is 18 to 10 raised to minus 6, 880 or 8000. So we need to find the stored charge, that is U, which is equals to Q square upon 2C. So Q is given to be 40 microcoulomb, so that is 40 to 10 raised to minus 6 the whole square upon 2 into C. The capacitance is 10 microfarad, so 10 into 10 raised to minus 6 again. So that becomes 16 into 10 raised to minus 10 upon 2 into 10 raised to minus 5. So that will be again 8 into 10 raised to minus 5 joules. And 1 joule is 10 raised to 7 erg. So that will be 8 into 10 raised to minus 5 into 10 raised to 7. So that will be 800 erg. Okay, so your correct option is B. A capacitor of capacitance 6 microfarad is charged up to 100 volt. The energy stored in the capacitor is. So we need to find the energy stored in the capacitor, which is equals to U, which is equals to again half CV square. So again the capacitance of the capacitor is given as 6 into 10 raised to minus 6, that is microfarad it is. So V and the energy volt is how much? 100 volts, that will be 100 square. So solving all, you get a value of 0.03 joules. So your correct option is C, 0.03 joules. Three capacitors of capacitors C1 and C2 and C3 are connected in series. The total capacitance will be. So whenever the three capacitors are connected in series, the total capacitance is given by 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3. So that will be, CR will be nothing but C1 inverse plus C2 inverse plus C3 inverse. Okay, so the correct option is C1 inverse plus C2 inverse plus C3 inverse raised to the whole inverse. So that will be C. Okay. The four plates of same area of cross section are joined as shown in the figure. The distance between each plate is D. The equivalent capacity across A and B will be. So the equivalent capacity across A and B. So in this given combination arrangement, there is a parallel combination of three identical capacitors. So for the parallel combinations, all we have is C1 plus C2 plus C3. So that will be 3C, and C as having a value of epsilon naught A upon D. And as we have a series of three capacitance, so we have a 3C is equals to 3 epsilon naught A upon D. So that will be the option number B. In a circuit diagram shown in the figure, the resultant capacitance between P and Q is. So between the P and Q, the resultant capacitance is, as shown in the diagram, these two are connected in series. So in series, the capacitance can get added up. So that will be again total 5 microfarads. And these three are all in, this 2 and 3 are in parallel. So in parallel, we can get it added up. So this 2 becomes 5 microfarad. And this 3, again, they will be in series. So in series, you have a reciprocal of that. So what you have is 1 upon C, which the total PQ capacitance will be equals to 1 upon 2 plus 3, that is 5, plus 1 upon 12 plus 1 upon 20. On solving this, you get 20 by 60, which is equals to 1 by 3. So C is PQ, again PQ is 3. So 3 microfarad is the correct option. Okay. So there are 5 capacitors each of capacitance C are connected as shown in the figure. The ratio of the capacitance between P and R and the capacitance between P and Q are. So we need to find the ratio between the capacitance P and R and P and Q. So first we will find the capacitance between P and R. That is, between P and R there are 3 capacitors on one side and 2 on the other side. So they are in series. So we need to have the capacitance as C2 plus C upon 3. So that will give you 5C upon 6. Okay, solving this. Next, the ratio across P and Q. So the ratio across the capacitance across P and Q will be 4 capacitors on the one side and C on the other. So C by 4 plus C, that will be on the other. So that will be 5C upon 4. Okay, so the ratio of C1 upon C2, that is the ratio of CPR upon CPQ, will be again 5C by 6 into upon 5C by 4. So that will be will come to a value of 2 by 3. So 2 is to 3, C is the correct option. So 3 capacitors each of our capacitance 3 microfarad, 10 microfarads and 15 microfarads are connected in series to a voltage source of 100 volts. What is the charge on 15 microfarad capacitance? So the total capacitance we can have is C equivalent, which is equals to 1 upon all these 3 are connected in series. So their total will be 1 upon 3 plus 1 upon 10 will plus 1 upon 15. That gives you a value of total C equivalent to be around 2 microfarads. Okay, so charge on each capacitor, that is a Q, which is given by the value C into V, where C, or that is the charge on each of this, is 2 multiplied by the voltage, that is given around 100. So that becomes 200 micro capacitance is the charge on 15 microfarad. That is, your correct option is 200. So the charge is 200 microcoulomb. So that will be the option number C. The kinetic energy of an electron are accelerated in a potential difference of 100 volt is. So the kinetic energy of an electron which is accelerated in a potential difference of V will be given by the charge on that multiplied by the potential difference. So that will be the charge on an electron is, we all know, it is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. So 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 into the voltage is 100 volts. So that gives you 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 into plus 2, that will be minus 17 joules. Okay, so your option is option number A, 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 17 joules. What is the effective capacitance between point X and Y? So in this diagram, X and Y are given and all the capacitance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, total 5 capacitance are connected. So if we rearrange this diagram, we get that it is connected in the similar format of a Wheatstone bridge. So it is a balanced condition of a Wheatstone bridge. So as a result, the total capacitance across X and Y, as all the capacitance are equivalent to 6, the total capacitance has to be equal to 6. So D is the correct option. A network of 4 capacitors of capacitance equals to C1 equals to 6, C2 equals to 2, C3 equals to 3, and C4 equals to 4, C are connected to a battery as shown in the figure. So this is the connection. The ratio of the charge on C2 and C4 is, so we need to find the ratio of the charge charge on C4 and C2, that is Q4 and Q2 we need to find out. So first what we'll find out is we'll find the amount of charge which is passing through this entire circuit. That will be first the charge given to the charge which is flowing through C4. So the charge through C4, let it be Q4. Okay, that will be given by Q4 equals to C into V, that is C4 equals to V. The capacitance is 4, so that becomes 4 CV. Okay, next we here the C1, C2 and C3, all the 3 are connected in series. So the series combination of this, it will be C equivalent, which will be equals to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3. That will be nothing but 1 upon C plus 1 upon 2C. C1 is C, 1 upon 2C plus 1 upon 3C. That will give you a value of about 11 upon 9, 11 upon 6C. That is 1C equivalent. So C equivalent is nothing but 6C upon 11. Next, the total equivalent circuit capacitance circuit is in parallel connection with the C4. So we can have the total parallel combination of both of them, that is the total C dash we have as C equivalent plus C4. As they are in parallel, we add them. So C equivalent we got is to be 6C upon 11 plus C4 is nothing but 4C. So the total capacitance in the circuit will be 50C upon 11. Okay, next for now the total charge we are going to find. So total charge will be nothing but the total capacitance into V. So that will be given by the total capacitance is 50C upon 11 into V. Okay, this is the total charge we found out. Now the total charge flowing through C1, C2 and C3. So the total charge flowing through C1, C2 and C3 will be the total amount of charge flowing through all of them minus the total charge across C4. That is the total charge across C4 is 4 CV. So the 50 CVC, 50 CV upon 11 minus you will be doing this 4 CV. So the total charge, let it be Q dash, which is Q minus of the Q4. So that is the total charge is 50 CV upon 11 minus 4 CV, that is equals to 6 CV upon 11. So this is the amount of charge which is flowing from C1, C2, C3. As all of them are in series combination, the charge flowing through all of them will be the same. So the required ratio what we need to find is C2 and C4. So C2 upon C4 will be given as C2. The total charge passing through C2 will be 6 CV upon 11 upon the total charge through C4. C4 is nothing but 4 CV. So 4 CV. So if we solve this, we get the value of the CV gets cancelled. So we have 24 that will be around 3 upon 22. So B is the correct option. Capacitors C1 and C2 are charged to, the two capacitors C1 and C2 are charged to 120 volts and 200 volts respectively. It is found that by connecting them together, the potential on each one of them can be made 0. Then what are the ratios of those two? So firstly, in order to make the potential 0, the net charge on the two capacitors must be 0. That means the capacitors must be connected such that the total charge should be Q1 minus Q2, it should be equal to 0. Now the total charge Q1 will be nothing but C into V. So we can have that C as 1 and V as 1 minus C2 into V2 equals to 0. Again we have C1 V1 equals to C2 V2. So the total charge on first capacitor is how much? 120 volts, which is equals to, again on the second it is 200 volts. So that is again C1 out here, and it is C2 out here. So that is again, if we find the ratio, that becomes 3C1 equals to 5C2. Okay, so 3C1 is to 5C2 is the correct option, B. 8 dipoles of charges of magnitude E are placed inside a cube. The total electric flux coming out from the cube will be. So there are 8 dipoles and the magnitude of each magnitude of E, and they are placed inside a cube. The total electric flux phi, which depends on the charge upon epsilon naught, coming out of them, it will be so for a dipole, the charge on a dipole is 0 out here. So hence the total magnetic electric flux which is coming out from the cube, it will be 0. So 0 is the correct option. That phi equals to F sigma q upon epsilon naught becomes entirely 0 for a dipole. A point charge plus q is placed at the center of a cube of side L. The electric flux emerging from the cube is. So whenever the electric flux coming out from a closed surface, we have a point charge which is placed at the center of a cube of side L. So through the electric flux through a closed surface is given by q upon epsilon naught. So here we have the options q upon epsilon naught 0, 6q square L square upon epsilon naught, or q upon 6 L square epsilon naught. The correct option is A, q upon epsilon naught. Shown below is the distribution of charge. The flux of electric field due to these charges through the surface S is. So the flux through the surface S will be, there are 3 charges, one is out of the surface and one is within the surface. So the first flux will be equals to charge upon epsilon naught. So this charge will be the total charge enclosed, and here there are 2 charges enclosed, so 2q upon epsilon naught will be the flux. So B is the correct option, 2q upon epsilon naught. The total electric flux through a cube when a charge 8q is placed at one corner of the cube. So here the charge 8q is placed on one corner of the cube. So we can imagine that if we arrange such small cubes to form a large cube, then this 8q then this charge 8q will be at the center of the 8 cubes arranged to form the closed box. So for the larger cube, it will be, the flux will be 8q upon epsilon naught. But for the smaller cube, it will be 1 upon 8 times the 8q upon epsilon naught. That will be nothing but q upon epsilon naught. So the total electric flux will be q upon epsilon naught. So a metallic solid sphere is placed in a uniform electric field. The lines of forces follow the path shown in the figure as. So there is a metallic sphere and there are lines of forces which are passing through it. So we need to find how many lines of forces are follow the path as shown in the figure. We know that when the electric field, when they pass through the surface of the conductor, they always pass perpendicular to the surface of the conductor. So on the surface of a metallic sphere, the electric field are oriented normally, that is they are directed towards the center of the sphere. So if there are four lines of forces electric field, then there are 4 lines of electric fields are passing through this surface. So your correct option is D, it is 4. So there are the 4 lines of fields follow the path. Capacity of the conductor does not depend upon charge, voltage, nature of the material, all of this. It is all of this. The answer is all of this, whereas it is the capacity of the conductor does not depend on the charge, not on the voltage, not on the nature of the material. It depends upon the cross section area of the conductor or the current capacity of the conductor. So the current capacity of the conductor, it will depend on the cross section area, and the larger the cross section area, the lesser the loss due to current will be. So it does not depend on the charge, not the voltage, not the nature of the material. So it is all of this. Okay. Parallel plate air capacitor has a capacitance C. When it is half filled with the dielectric constant 5, the percentage increase in the capacitance becomes. So we have the options 400%, 66.6%, 33.3%, or 200%. So firstly, we have 2 conditions here for earlier capacitance and the capacitance after adding a dielectric. So the earlier capacitance C we can have it at epsilon naught A upon D, and the capacitance after adding dielectrics is the earlier capacitance plus, that is epsilon naught A upon 2D plus epsilon naught 5 times A upon 2D. If you solve this, you will get the added up to total capacitance after adding a dielectric of 5. So if we add this, we get the total C dash is equals to 6 epsilon naught A upon 2D, that will be equals to 3 epsilon naught A upon D. Okay, so this is the final capacitance, and this will be the initial. So the total change in the capacitance will be C dash minus C, that will be 3 epsilon naught A upon D minus epsilon naught A upon D, that will be 2 epsilon naught A upon D. So the percentage of this percentage change in the capacitance will be delta C upon the original C, that is 2 epsilon naught A upon D upon epsilon naught A upon D multiplied by 100. So that gives you about a 200% of the increase in the capacitance. So D is the correct option. On increasing the plate separation of a charge condenser, the energy will increase, decrease, or remain unchanged, or become zero. So you know that the energy is equals to half Q square C, where for a charge capacitor the Q will be a constant, and hence it will depend, and hence C will be the capacitance. So C is inversely proportional to the D, that is the distance between the separation. Here on increasing that separation distance, this C will decrease, and if the C is inversely proportional to the energy, if C is decreasing, then you will increase. So you will see that A is the correct option, the energy will increase.